So here's a dead maple, acer macrophyllum, California big leaf maple, and it's hung up in this other big maple right behind this ponderosa pine that's also dead. We've got a problem with trees dying in Napa County. I'm gonna put a rope up in that tree right there and pull it down. I'll either pull it just straight down with my truck or put a redirect right in here into this bay tree.
I actually didn't use that bay tree. I found a better tree that was more suitable.
And then pull that thing down. Too dangerous to climb up there. But first I'll cut off these two big dead spars. There's two big dead spars right there.
What I was talking about is I'm just going to leave the rope doubled over. I have the rope going up and over the branch, the main spar that I'm pulling down. I'm just going to tie it together here with it looks like I'm tying with a sheet bend, but it's actually a bowline because I'm tying back onto the same rope. It's a giant circle. That way, if the branch doesn't come down or it gets hung up and it turns out to be more problematic, I can recover the rope if I need to easily. But I think it's going to come down. But this will also give me an advantage. Having the rope double gives me double the strength and less stretch. It'll be more of a static rope. Oh, I wanted to tie there's too much rope. I made this giant loop so I can recover it, but there's just way too much rope. So I'm putting a alpine butterfly in the rope, doubled up like that. And this rope is so stiff. It's a new Samson Arbor Master rope. Has the really rigid, stiff handling, but it's a really tough rope. I've owned a few of these over the last 25 years. They just take quite a beating, but when they're new, and this one especially for some reason is ultra stiff. Plus, I'm going to tie on a redirect rope onto here to go through the pulley because that doubled up rope's not going to go through the pulley, the redirect. If I would have looked up high, you'd be able to see how long these spars are, but I was concentrating on what I'm doing here. I'm cutting them off because they're partially engaged with the leaning tree that's hung up in this other tree. And they're just going to mess up the pulling down that I'm doing. So I'm just going to cut these off. I've got the uphill ground and they're falling off downhill away from me, which is safer for me. Taking down a tree that is hung up in another tree is always really tricky and dangerous. You have to always assume that at any time, any of these support branches that the other tree is hung up in could fail and the tree could come down. This was a tricky cut because I'm working between two other leaders and it was hard to get my chainsaw in there at the right angle. And I slightly nicked the one on the right there. I just went into the outer cuticle. It didn't go into the cambium layer or anything. Just a slight nick on the outer bark, but it was hard to... I had to regulate the depth of the tip of my saw so I didn't go back and hit the other one behind me, which I did not. That one didn't come free. It was still kind of hung up even though I back cut it. But I yanked on it with the rope and shook the whole upper area. That one spar came loose. There's my redirect right there. So what I got going on there is a 2-to-1 reduction, so I'm getting twice the pulling force. It always helps when you remember to engage the gears. And I'm guiding the rope through the fair lead so that it wraps properly on the spool. And I know some people are going to complain about this, but I'm using synthetic rope and it's doubled up and it goes super slow. The winch goes super slow. You have to be really dumb to get your hand caught in there. That's why I got my hand well away from the fair lead. You can't do that with steel cable. It's too dangerous. That's why I use synthetic cable. It's a lot safer.
Well, it worked out pretty good.
The homeowner didn't mind if it just fell on the fence. He said he's going to fix the fence anyways, so that's why I did it like that.
A lot more to do later.